All right, this is the last one. Shoo! Gunini. We're going to be doing chapter 15, study skills. And I guess this part is maybe going to help you the most. Because I'm sure by now, if you've been watching this and you've been preparing for your LO exam, you've realized with it, I made these prelims a joke. Zingshayile, zangplexema, and angsaz. I'm sure by now you're realizing, these prelims, whew, ngipastile, zingshayile, I'm walking wounded. Eh? I'm struggling here because I don't know what I'm doing. So that at least this part of your textbook may become useful for you. So there, for instance, is just giving you techniques, different techniques in preparing for your final exams. And you now need to study this firstly so that you know the stuff from a theory point of view, because they will ask you that maybe in an exam. But then after that, after you've learned the theory, try and practice some of these things. Some of you ndinga uncedo. Amen. So you will see on page 263, it first says revision of your own study skills. So activity 1 will ask you to check how well you study so that you can see what is your method. It gives you then a bit of an example of what would a study timetable look like, even though many of you are telling us you study by your feelings, and then you've discovered with your feelings lie to you. Even though I told you, but then sharp. Okay. Then you will have an activity 2 where you must then design your own study timetable. So the idea is, if you see the theory of how they say you should design a study timetable, when they ask you, you should be able to add those elements. You should break up your days in weeks of week 1, and then write Monday, and then write, like what then would be, what would you study for, and how did you decide? You decided because of seeing what you'll be writing soon, whatever. Just study what they said you must do and know how to apply it. Then it talks about things like managing your time, creating mock exams, so taking previous papers, practicing with them, and how to practice well with them. Make sure you practice a past paper. We have a memorandum for it. Otherwise, how are you marking it? Okay. And then the use of summary, use of going through revision, and what is active learning. So go through that. Then it gives you ideas of how to focus and concentrate. So it deals with nutrition. It will give you ideas of nutritious snacks to consume before you write. But here's a tip from my heart to you. You must know the strength of your bladder. Nanyes, please, don't consume water at 5 to 8, knowing you write at 9, and know that your bladder will disturb you 9:30. Okay. First of all, being uncomfortable so bambum is not a good idea. And and secondly, with finals, they are more strict. So the person who's invigilating your paper is not going to be able to say, okay, can you cut? They need to wait for the teacher, who must pop in once in a while to come check. And they can't have their phones on them, so they can't whip out their phone and say, Ncedani usihle ukucinga kuyochama, usihle ufuna kuyochama, ncedani bo. You have to hope that Mr. Maseku, who maybe was the relief invigilator, is going to come and pop in and just check, do you need me? Just in time for your bladder to be relieved. So my advice to you is, if you know you have your anxiety also makes you need the bathroom a lot, please don't drink water. Okay? Make sure your last cup of coffee or tea or of your dragon was ngabo before 7, so that before you get into the room, you've gone to the bathroom. Secondly, my advice to you, please, for the love of everything, ensure that you're not doing things or eating things that will in any case make you feel uncomfortable when you write. With finals, unlike with prelims or unlike with all the exams you've written all in your life until this moment, there are moments where you're finally in the groove, okay? And if now you go to the bathroom, it will disturb your groove. It will disturb your train of thought. And if at that moment the person who's meant to be there to help relieve people's bathroom desires arrives, and when you're in the groove, then you say, Ish, let me just finish this and then but you might have to wait another hour. So like, just tip about. I might like you. I might. Okay? So look at what they say nutritionally you should try and consume. Remember some of those, because you may have to give a child advice who's preparing for finals. They like questions like that. I don't know why. Okay? For instance, it says here, if you write an early morning exam, yogurt, 2 slices of bread with peanut butter or cheese or egg should be enough, with a glass of milk or a cup of rooibos tea. That's in whose house are you allowed to drink milk? That's me. I don't go like, hey, let me have a cup of milk. Eh? Because I was deprived. Now I buy my own milk, but I don't even do those things. And please don't eat the boiled egg and then those. Okay. Good. Then it gives you ideas of how to relax, how to calm yourself down. Relaxation is important. You cannot write anxious. Again, because all your life you've written after procrastinating and being anxious and crying and having a nervous breakdown, and you got distinctions, hey baba, luck will run out. Okay? And it's just a terrible, terrible habit. I hope one day you guys will learn that nothing is ever worth you almost dying for it. Okay? If there's easier ways to succeed without having to go out to die because you procrastinated, because you were anxious, because you had a nervous breakdown, try that one. And one of those things is to relax, to prepare well, to sleep well. Okay, so your textbook will give you ideas. It will tell you about breathing techniques, and then things like what to do again before the exam, during the exam, in actually writing the thing. So the examination writing skills, go through that, arrive in good time, stop studying 30 minutes before. Then it tells you, like, once the exam starts, read through, work out how much time you'll need to spend. There's a whole clock in front of you. Learn to read or watch. Read the questions carefully. So as I was saying, on page 272, there's a section there that gives you all these common question phrases or where it gives you common question words that you should know. So my advice to you is study the ones that you know you don't know what they mean. When they say critically analyze, if you've never known what that meant and you're always thumb sucking, know that one well, because in multiple choice questions, they really like asking these sort of things. But when they say critically analyze, what does it mean? When they say examine, what does it mean? So be able to just know those things well, then you should be fine. Okay, then last tip. Because of how COVID happened, we didn't do a lot of PE, and it's possible that they may ask odd questions about PE. So my advice to you is just go through your textbook once or twice, where you go through those little weird sections where they're talking about stretching, talking about warm up, talking about running. You don't need to know this stuff off by heart. But if you know that with health things and with fitness things, you know dololo, then just go through that once to get your general knowledge, because one can't be sure if they've really changed their exams, but there was no time for PE. That's why it was never really expected. My suspicion is they will probably use a lot of COVID things to cover the health part and physical well-being part. So if you just know that, I hope you'll be fine. I joked a lot, but if you've really been watching these videos and listening to these sound things, I really wish you luck. I'm hopeful that you will do well. It was a good year. Shem, we may have at times had conflicts, but you must know that everything I did was out of love. I may love you. I do love all of you. I don't like many of the things some of you are doing because you are not showing love to yourself. But hey, do your best. This is your last shot. Please prepare well, and all the best. If I don't see you before you write, just know uzoba right. See what I did there? How about food, man?